few brushes, and you'll need your watercolors. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the class. We are going to do a few watercolors today, very simple ones, and I hope you enjoy the class. So for that purpose, I have my watercolors in a palette, and I'm going to switch my camera so you can see my palette. Okay. And then I took some of these colors. I took two blues and the yellow and the red and the pink into a palette that looks like this. And I mixed up the water, the color, very watery, you know. I used a palette knife to do that, to mix the colors. And I have a few brushes here. I have a very tiny brush, and then I have size 1 or 2, and then I have a round brush which is of size 3 or 4, and then this is a bigger brush of size 8, flat brush. But you can use any brush you have at your end. A variety of brushes is a good idea, variety of different sizes, right? So and I also have my watercolor paper over here, which is a 300 GSM cold press paper. And in between the layers, I may ask that you mute your video, mute your sound, and you may have to use a dryer to quickly dry your watercolor so you can go to the next layer. You may not need the dryer at all times, your choice, but using a dryer may help you to move faster. So in terms of going through some basic things in watercolor before we get started, I'm going to go through some basic drawings, okay? Some basic painting. For example, if you want to blend colors, right? You may have a pink, right? And if you want to blend that with a blue, for example, I would clean my brush and I would wash my brush, and then I would go into the blue and put it right next to the pink and do a wet on wet and bring in the blending like that, right? You can also create a variety of textures in your watercolor. Like if you have a transition of color like this, and you want to create texture, you can just use a paper towel to lift some colors out. So you can lift colors. Say, for example, if you have a blue, right? And then you want to remove color, you can use a brush to remove. Clean the brush, wipe it, and then again come back and start the removal. You can also use paper towel to remove some of your paint if you need to. The process of watercolor could be, if I have a layer of water here and I want to I want to create a cloud, right? I would spread the blue paint on top of the water that I had, right? I first had a water, and then I put in the blue into that. And then I could come in and I could remove some of the areas of the color. And that creates a very beautiful cloud formation with very little effort, right? And then once it dries a little bit, you can come in and you can create some ends, the edges of the cloud. I'm dropping in that blue paint and it automatically creates the cloud formation is more visible at this point. So I'm just augmenting some of the edges with a darker color, right? You can bring in another color into this area and let it spread around using a wet on wet technique. Could remove a few more to create a few more clouds in this area. Come and augment the blue at the bottom to make those clouds stand out a little bit more. Now I'm gonna come in and put a little bit more pink here. And I could do the landscape here. Darken this color a little bit at the bottom. Bring in some lighter colors at the top. Create the horizon. I could use my dryer at this point to dry the picture a little bit. And then I would come in and want to do some trees in the distance. This is dry now, so it will be okay. Bringing in some really light green color in the distance and blending it with the green that I had in the front. Maybe use a turquoise color to indicate some water here. And I can go back and work on the sky a little bit more at this point. Make this part darker. I'm going to use my dryer again. I would want to do maybe some grass in the foreground. So I would hold my brush vertical like this. And I would make strokes kind of like this to indicate some texture in the foreground. You could now take a paper, cover this, and bring a brush. You spread some colors in the foreground to indicate some flowers. So cover all of this. I'm using a fan brush to do that, but you can use a toothbrush, old toothbrush, or anything that you have, like even a not so great brush will be okay for this, just to splatter some color in the foreground. Now, when I remove these papers, I now have some kind of texture in the foreground, and I can now develop my flowers a little bit better. In some cases, I show the petals and a little bit more details around it. Not everything needs to have a lot of details, just some of them will have more detail than others, and that gives the viewer an idea that this is a flower bed, okay? Just a few flowers with a little bit more detail. And the rest of them are okay to not have the details, okay? You can also take your green, more green, and create more leaves and all that in the front a little bit, just to create a little bit more textures to show the leaves. Tall stems, the base of the flowers. Okay, so this is how it looks from close up. Then I can work a little bit more on it. Just create some darker areas in the distance. Yeah, so that's a very simple, landscape in watercolor, right? So if you want to take a few moments and put that in. And this is optional, but you can go darker on the sky on the top.
Yes, I want the time, please.
Do you want to mute your sound, please? Doing some of the lining of the clouds. And then I'll put plain water to pull that pink into the clouds a little bit. So the clouds look, they have a three-dimensional look to them. So I'm darkening the edges a little bit, and the inside is less dark. Correcting the edges a little bit. This painting is done. I'm gonna move to a second one very soon. For that, you will need a little bit of violet color. If you want to mix that in the meantime, that would be okay. We'll need violet and green for the second one. Okay, so this is the second one. This is the first painting. So in this painting, we started with the blue, and I put in two different blues here, ultramarine blue and a little bit of cerulean blue. And then I also have some cerulean blue in the water. And in the sky, I had the two blues, and then I blended into pink and yellow. And I put in light green over here, and then did textures with green and pink in the front. And I also did some trees in the distance using burnt sienna. if you have any question about this painting, you can ask now. So we're going to move into the second painting now.
No, not yet. Give me 1 minute.
So in the second painting, we're going to um, draw out a little bit, draw the scene just a little bit. So have horizon. Just need to make the horizon straight. Like a few trees here. And then some trees in the background, which are a little bit smaller than the trees in the front. Then I have a valley here. And then I have some mountains here. And then I have the water here. And then there is the reflection of the mountain in the water. It's there. And then the reflection of the trees in the water also is there. So, so the way I started with the drawing to explain was I did the horizon first, some not exactly in the middle, a little bit, in the upper part, maybe like just a tad bit over above the middle, right? So in there, I have this area which is in the front of the water. And then I have trees here. So I did that first. So that these trees are bigger trees, and some of these trees they are in the front of the others, and this is the land. So I did horizon line, which is number one. And then in the number two, I did these trees. And then in number three, I did trees in the front of them. So those are the first three things you have to do. Okay, so those are the three things you have to do. If you are to use color to explain it better, just to explain it better, I'm going to use these pencil colors just so that you understand what I'm doing. So this part is going to be green, okay? We're not coloring it yet. I'm just trying to explain to you the local color of these different areas. So this part is going to be green because it's the trees in the front, right? Then I have trees in the background, which are going to be a little bit bluish green later on, but this is gonna be in the background, okay? It's a little bit smaller trees because they are farther away. Kind of like this. So that will be the trees in the background near the horizon, okay? This is how this part is gonna look like later on, okay? In the actual painting, that's gonna be looking like that. Then in the actual painting, I will have mountains in the background. And, I'm not trying to imitate what I did, but it's kind of, yeah, let me just copy that. So in the actual painting, I'll also have a little bit of a green valley here. So so that was 1, 2, 3, and then these trees are number 4, and the valley is number 5. And then behind the valley, I have some mountains. Okay. These are the mountains, which is number 5. Sorry, number 6. This is number 6, right? So this blue thing is going to be your mountain at the back behind the trees. Okay. So that's what I have till now, right? And this is all water in the front, right? In the front, in the water, there'll be reflection of these mountains. Okay. So they'll be the same color as the mountains. This is reflection in the water, right? That's why I'm going like that. Horizontal stroke of my brush. And the trees are also going to reflect in the water. It's going to be like this. So the reflection is number 7, okay? All right. So that's the picture. Anybody wants me to explain it a little bit more?
No.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. Anyone wants me to explain? Only
Right.
the person who wants me to explain, please let me know. I only need to hear from anyone who wants a few more minutes. I know everybody is okay. Most people are okay, but I do want to give anybody extra time if they need to. Yeah. So that's why I need to hear from that one person or two person who may need a few minutes. Okay. So I didn't hear anything. So this is the drawing. Okay. In the drawing, I am now going to start with my lightest color for all areas, right? So I am now going to come in and start putting some light green and light violet colors,
Is wet to wet or wet dry to dry?
No, it's wet on dry.
Wet and dry.
Yeah, just putting in the local colors. So here we go. This is the light green color. I will put in some darker green at the bottom because this is also the local color of this area. Just a little bit. There is a little piece of land under these trees. This is a scene from Calgary, actually. From the Banff area. And then this area at the back is also very light color, this valley. Okay, I'm gonna put in some light green in that area. And that light green is also showing in the water. So I'll put some here. And now I'll come in with my darker green. And after this, I'll give you a minute to catch up. Okay. So I'm going to stop very soon. So I'm going to do some of my darker greens here. And create the reflection of these also a little bit, just a little bit, just to get us started. Just do some of the reflections in the water. So that's where I'll stop for a few minutes. Next, I will put some water in the sky. All the way to the mountain. Stop right above it, right? And bring in the water touching the mountain tops almost. So now I'm gonna do wet on wet on the sky.
What color is that, Pam?
Oh, just water. This is just water.
Oh, this water.
Just water. Yeah. Just wetting the background. And then I'll go into my ultramarine blue. Make it nice and not too much paint on it. Just go easy on the paint a little bit and come in and start putting it on the top. Just let it flow into the water. I can also remove some of the paint just to create some texture of clouds in the sky. And I'll do the same with the water at the bottom. Same blue, come in with the same blue, but I'm not covering the entire thing. I'm just going up to the middle of the water, okay? Just a little bit, just halfway through. You know how this part was water? I'm just covering it halfway through with water. And I am now going to put the same blue that I used in the sky. I'm gonna put it in the water. Just very lightly, just put some in. Go horizontally like this with your brush so it looks like textures, you know, of the waves. I'm now going to mix some little bit of red into my blue, or maybe use the violet that you have, a bluish violet, not a pinkish violet, but a bluish violet. Mix some blue into your pink violet if you have any, so that you get a bluish violet. And I'm gonna put in some of that color on the shadow side of the mountain. This is the shadow side of the mountain. Then I'll come and create the reflection in the water of the mountains. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna bring in some green here. I left some space for the green. So next I'm gonna work on these trees here. So I'll take some of the blue I had with the green, the blue that I was using. I'll take some of that and mix it with my green and make a nice dark green color, which is bluish which is also blue. But I wouldn't take too much paint. I would just take a little bit into my medium brush and I would create some of these trees in a vertical sort of way. Take some yellow and put that into this area. Get some yellow in this area. Some pink into the sky. Take the same pink and the yellow and put some into the water. Okay. Okay, I'll give you a moment to catch up, and you can also ask me any question which you may have. Taking some of my light green again and putting some green into this area. Take a little bit more of the blue violet that I made before and darken the mountains a little bit more. Working on the trees a little bit more in the distance. Very dark green mixed with some blue. We put in some of that into the reflection also. Putting in some dark green into this area also. Putting in some more reflections of the trees in the water. Darkening this area up a little bit more. Okay. I'll now come in with my blue, the dark blue that I made before. And put some of the dark blue. Not much paint, okay? Just a little bit of paint with lots of water. And I'll put that in into the front. Just show some width. Darken the sky a little bit more. Painting is pretty much done at this point. I could darken these areas a little bit more, the trees. Sometimes darken the mountains a little bit. Okay, so that's what we have now. And if you have any question, you can ask me also at this point. Just taking away some of the dark tree tops just so that it looks more bright over here. Putting in some light green on the treetops a little bit. Playing with my darks and lights a little bit to create a few more dark patches on the mountains. Putting some blue into the trees in the distance. And also the trees in the front, just a little bit darker near the bottom areas to give it more depth, you know. Okay, so with that, I think we're done with this one. And we do have a few minutes. You can ask a question if you have.
Hello, Pamela.
Yes, hello.
Can I take a picture of the paint brushes you used today, please?
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
Just 1 second. Let me clean them and bring them together. If anybody wants a snapshot of the photo from today, this is it. I'll bring the brushes soon. Just give me a minute.
Sure, thank you.
So this has been my palette today. Okay. And these were my brushes today. For this painting, these were the brushes. I also use this one to splatter on the other one, the flowers, but these are the ones that I used today for this one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we did this today, right?